I mean, for herself, but for women's tennis. It was going through a little bit of a patch where there wasn't the excitement that we've been used to seeing, and there weren't the rivalries that we started to get used to when Monica and Steffi started to compete against each other. And so the 2.5-year absence, I think, was a big void in women's tennis, and everybody's very excited that she's back.
Do you think they'll renew that rivalry, Graf and Seles?
I think everybody in New York City is waiting for this Graf-Seles final. There's a lot of work to be done before that happens, but yeah, I do. I think that could be a good rivalry, and already Monica Seles and Anke Huber, this is the second time they've met in just a couple of weeks. So I think there are a lot of players who actually will benefit by Monica's comeback, and their games will be raised by her challenging them.
Well, she won the Canadian Open, her first tournament back, very convincingly, and I think that it was great to have her back, but then a lot of the players didn't seem to want to play her, and Anke Huber actually gave her her toughest match. It was 6-3, 6-2, so what can we look for today?
It was a good match. In fact, it was a real good test at the Canadian. Anke Huber, her first top 10 opponent, and now she's playing her again. Anke Huber hits the ball very hard off both sides. Big hitter of the ball. She strikes it cleanly. She doesn't move that well, and Monica Seles can expose that. But I remember the first set of their match in Toronto, Huber was really pushing Monica back behind the baseline and creating her own excellent angles. So I think Seles will learn something from that match, and we'll see how she turns it around.
Well, the players are out there on Stadium Court now, getting ready for this one, and the crowd are waiting in anticipation. So Monica Seles here. Do you think there's anybody in the tournament now? She's in a pretty tough section of the draw. Do you think there's anybody that can bother her? That's Monica there. She's got the new gear on, and there's a problem with that knee. She's not hobbling around too much, though, Betsy, is she?
No, she's in pretty good shape. I mean, but she is wearing the sleeve again. We've talked about this tendonitis in her left knee. It is fairly acute. She has days where it's very, very sore. And my opinion was always the conditioning and the physical aspect was going to be the one hindrance, whether she could really get through the grind of a Grand Slam. And now this, starting really today and this whole second week of the U.S. Open is going to be difficult. She's got a lot of tough opponents ahead of her, but she's such a tremendous competitor. She doesn't really look too far ahead. She's concerned about today.
Well, the first week was pretty easy for her, and none of the matches went over an hour, and we had an over and under bet the last time she went out there. It was a pretty close decision, about 57 minutes, I think, but this one today, what do you look for?
Well, I think this one will go over an hour. Anke Huber is... like we've said, I mean, she's a very experienced and good player, and Seles definitely respects her game. They're good friends. They've played a lot together. Monica has never dropped a set to Anke Huber in 5 previous matches, so it doesn't look good for Huber, but I know that Seles respects her game a lot.
Unders and overs, how long do you think?
An hour and 9 minutes.
An hour and 9 minutes, okay. I'll go with the unders.
Okay.
Well, there we go again. We've got another little challenge going here, and when we come back, it'll be that match on Stadium Court as Seles is continuing the warm-up with the serve. Anke Huber, the number 11 seed here, we mentioned, did give us some trouble up in Canada. It was 6-3, 6-2 in that match, the toughest match that she had at the Canadian, and so we're looking for another one here. I think the serve has improved as far as Seles is concerned. Coming back, that's one of the strengths that they say, hey, she's gone a little bit taller, a couple inches taller, and that allows her to get a little more pace on the serve. And as Betsy mentioned, getting around the court, maybe a bit of a problem the second week because of the knee. Time will tell, but she has not been extended to this degree as yet.
Anke Huber has the kind of game that certainly can make things difficult for Seles. And if Seles is having a little bit of trouble with her knee, I actually spoke to her right before she came out, and she said her knee was pretty sore. She's been trying to practice as much as she can just to keep her game in shape, and it's always a very difficult Grand Slam event. It's very chaotic and wild and crazy, and practicing out here is sometimes difficult. So, you know, Monica's been trying to get away from the site and practicing at a court about an hour away just to have some peace and quiet.
She likes to get her practice sessions over early, though, in the morning, and she does, similar to Steffi Graf. Graf likes to get Heinz Gundhard out there before 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I can handle either one of those coaching jobs, up and practicing that early in the morning, but they like to get out early, get their exercise done, get their so that there's not a lot of people bothering them and looking out for them, trying to get autographs afterwards. They do that after the matches, and Seles is very good with that. First point of the match, Seles to serve.
Love 15.
Double fault to start off with. Love 15.
A little bit of nerves, I'm sure. That's the way Monica actually started her very first match in this whole comeback thing in Atlantic City against Navratilova. The serve for Seles, I believe, really will become more and more of a weapon. It's something that she's only just now really experiencing and sort of toying with, the fact that she can serve very big. She's serving some of her fastest serves about 108 miles per hour, and that's a lot of pace.
Well, she's playing a pretty aggressive opponent. This young lady, Anke Huber, was destined, they said, hey, you're going to be the next Steffi Graf. She hates people to talk about that, but boy, she goes after them. She hits everything really firm and solid off the ground.
30 all.
30 all.
Yes, Anke Huber was destined, being from Germany, she was called the next Steffi Graf. Well, it's pretty difficult to fill those shoes, and she hasn't quite lived up to that, but that'd be a pretty difficult thing to even contemplate. Just missing with the ground stroke there. This is a break point here in this opening service game from Seles. Some big hitting from Huber has gotten her to this point.
They've played 5 times. Seles has won them all.
Just missing there with the return, and Huber is not happy about it.
A cute smile there, but she looks up to the chair and says, did you see that?
Look at it again and see if we can tell. Just missed. Advantage Huber. I know that Monica got a tape of this of their match from Toronto a couple of weeks ago because she really wanted to have a look to see court positioning strategy and anything that she could do to improve from that performance a couple of weeks ago. The first set was very, very close. Seles got broken. Her first 2 service games, turned around, broke right back. Was up 5-love in the second set before Huber won a couple of games.
Just pace of shot, the ball got behind Huber a little bit. So it's now a game point for Seles. And an ace down the middle. That one, 93 miles an hour. So after a struggle, Seles wins the first game. Seles was seated equal number 1 here with Steffi Graf. This is what the bottom half of the women's singles looks like. Darte against Schultz McCarthy. Garrison Jackson had a great tournament so far against Conchita Martinez. Novotna and Studenkova. And Anke Huber against Monica Seles, the match that you're watching right now. Huber to serve her first game in this match. Pretty interesting bottom half there with Conchita Martinez in that. Big serving Brenda Schultz-McCarthy. Novotna, Darte, she'll run everything down. Tough 4th round matches.
Yeah, it's an interesting bottom half. Conchita Martinez, the 4th seed, was placed down in the bottom half instead of Sanchez Vicario, but that is because at Grand Slam events, they have the prerogative to do what they like with the seeded players. That's tough from Seles there.
Good anticipation there, because basically, you know, off that short ball, both these young ladies will go cross-court with this shot. Look, and she's waiting for that one, Seles, because knowing that Huber was going to go cross-court with the two-fisted backhand. It's over the lowest part of the net. It's an easier shot, and Seles was waiting on it. Love 30.
You know, one of the things that Monica really wanted to turn around from their match in Toronto a couple of weeks ago was how far back behind the baseline she was standing, how much court she was giving away. And you can see already right now, Monica has decided she is going to stay in as tight as she can and not allow Huber to dictate and control points.
Love 40 now. Huber had break points in the first game of the match, couldn't convert. Let's see how Seles does. Looking at a second serve, you can be sure she'll jump all over this one. And she did. And rips that two-fisted backhand, so Monica Seles wins that game to love on Huber's serve. Look at this return.
So quick. Her arms move through the ball so quickly, and that's because she has such great hip rotation, shoulder rotation.
2 love.
15 love.
Mentioned the fact that she is a little taller now, Betsy, and reaches up for that serve, gets a little bit more snap at the top of the swing.
I think she really has it in her mind she would like to be an attacking player. 40 love. I think she'd like to improve the whole serve volley aspect of her game. She's such a big hitter of the ball that she started to use some variety. She started to throw some drop shots in, and it's very smart tactically. Players are always waiting for the heat, and I think when she adds the element of being able to sneak in after her serve or come in to finish points off from the mid-court when she has the opportunity, is another area of her game she can improve upon. 40-15.
Well, that stopped the rot because Seles had won 9 points in a row. Still 40-15.
These two are similar in age. Monica Seles just a little bit older than Anke Huber, who's only 20. They like each other. They're pretty good friends. They used to know each other back in the early days, both being from Europe, played some junior tournaments together.
Another long game now, led 40 love. Back to deuce.
That's big from Huber there, showing that she can handle pace, she can give pace herself. Both of these players like pace, and they hit a lot of it. And this time Huber takes it nice and early, steps in, catches it before it gets too high.
Just like Seles would.
Deuce.
And Huber telling herself there, hey, I should have taken one hand off that racket and just tried to slice that one down the line, keep it in play. Didn't quite have enough room to stretch for it. So, juice.
Advantage Seles.
Plays at a pretty fast pace, Monica Seles, the same as Steffi Graf. I think they're double parked, or they got an early reservation for afternoon tea or something.
Game Seles.
3 games to love now. Seles leads first set. Results from out and about on this holiday Monday on the grandstand court. A bit of an upset. Kamiko Date, the number 7 seed, lost to Brenda Schultz-McCarthy, seeded number 16, 7-5, 3-6, 6-2. So Brenda Schultz-McCarthy goes through to play the winner of Garrison Jackson Martinez. That's the best she's done in Grand Slam competition. And then good work for Australia. Christine Radford is playing with Canadian Jill Hetherington. They won a match against Meredith McGrath and Larissa Nealon, a good doubles team, 7-5, 5-7, 6-4. So Christine through in women's doubles competition. We're now back to stadium live action here on the stadium court with Anke Huber trying to get on the board here. She's had a couple of game point opportunities, has not been able to do it there. We mentioned this stadium now filling up in a hurry for this match, and then after this is Andre Agassi. So the girls just taking a little extra time whilst the spectators get settled.
Wait, please. Anke Huber made her very big move in 1990. That's 5 years ago. She was just 15 years old. She qualified for a hard court tournament, went on to win it, had a very good tournament the very following week, getting to the finals of a tournament in France, and her ranking went from about 130 and jumped to number 32, and she's really never looked back since then. 15-30. Been a very consistent performer. She's been in the top 10 for the last 4 years, Anke Huber. Her first big win was over Gabriela Sabatini. That was her first top 5 win. That was the following year, 91. She also beat Navratilova at the end of the year, won herself a Porsche.
Yep.
And a tournament in Filderstadt.
She's a very sweet kid. She's only 20 years of age. I got to know her quite well because she practices and spends some time at my home club at Turnberry Isle down in Florida. And, her male friend Andrei Medvedev, Boris Breskvar, the coach, they play a bit of golf and play a lot of tennis down there before they come down to Australia, actually, for the summer down there.
40-30. Boris Breskvar, who used to coach for quite a long time Anke Huber, is now no longer with Anke, and he is with her boyfriend, Andrei Medvedev.
Well, Huber's on the board. She'll enjoy that. 3 games to 1 now. Seles leads. Medvedev's had a strange season too with Breskvar. He lost early in here this tournament after leading 2 sets to love, I believe.
Very unpredictable player, isn't he? 15-love. Breskvar certainly has worked very hard in Germany, bringing up the likes of Boris Becker and Steffi Graf, and worked a long time with Anke Huber.
Oh, he's a good man. 15-love, 30-love. That's
Seles' natural serve, that lefty swinging serve. She serves that one in the ad court so very well. Don't need to serve that wide one with a lot of pace. You just need good placement. And that's big too. Seles' favorite serve in the deuce court is down the tee, but she's been working on that lefty serve out to a right-hander's forehand in the deuce court. Opens up the court, and then you just hit the winner into the open court like that last point.
No one's called wide. Seles now extends that lead to 4 games to 1. Anke Huber, well, how does she reach this 4th round match? She took out Yayok Bazuki from Indonesia, and then Ann Miller, who was a wild card, a young American lass. And after that, took out Makarova. Is that one, Betsy? That's a new one for me.
Real tough young player from Russia, Elena Makarova. She's going to be a player to look for in the future. She pushed Anke Huber to the limit. It was a 3-set match. Makarova sort of crumbled in the 3rd set, but she's a player to look for in the future.
So many new names with the kids I mentioned earlier. This is the junior week here at Flushing Meadow on the outside courts.
That's too good there from Seles. She's able to create such great angles, and that's because she has such tremendous hands to control the racket head so very well. She's been practicing that since age 7.
Yeah. And she's all of 21 now. Well, I tell you what, I think Anke Huber might just about have Monica Seles in only one department, and that's the grunting.
They do. They grunt similarly. They were doing the same thing a couple of weeks ago in Toronto. And Anke Huber can generate an awful lot of pace herself. She's just not able to do it as consistently as Monica Seles can do it. Monica does it better than anyone has ever done it. She hits the ball harder, closer to the lines. That's another element of her game. 15-30. That as she plays more matches, I think she'll get better at. She says she's a little bit tentative. She's not hitting the ball as close to the lines with the same authority that she was a couple of years ago, but that's understandable.
Yeah, we talked about that in the last match, didn't we? Because she seems to be wanting to get into the rhythm of the swing and hitting a lot of balls down the middle of the court and, you know, within a meter or so of the line. But boy, when she's at full flight and playing well, she goes for the lines, and I think that's an area that she will improve, like something like this. She's down the center of the court and just trying to get into the rhythm of playing matches, and obviously playing in the stadium court here. You've got 19,000 people, and she hasn't had that experience for the last couple of years, and I think it takes time to get used to.
You got to remember, this is only her 8th match back in 2.5 years, and the first match in Toronto, she hadn't, you know, I couldn't remember when she should go to the net and practice her volleys. The 5-minute warm-up was it felt funny, and when to take serves. And
30-40.
Well, you get in those rallies back there, I don't think that Anke Huber can compete with Seles for pace of shot from the baseline, and you've been talking about that. So I think she's got to throw up a couple of, you know, moon balls and keep them, just change it up, because if she just wants to keep on rallying and going stroke for stroke with Seles, they're going to be off here in a hurry. 30-40, a break point now for Seles. Another unforced error, going for the winner too quickly, so Seles streaks out to a 5-1 lead in this opening set. A little bit of a look up there. The champions all do that when they say, hey, I've got you on the ropes, I'll have a quiet look and see at the reaction. That's why it's important not to give too much away at the other end, even though you're down 5-1. Can't look as though you're dispirited.
Really has impressed everybody how well Monica is playing, how well she's handling everything from the media to all the chaos off the court. But in particular, just how well she's striking the ball and how well she's handling big points and the pressure of being out here after so long away.
Well, I know you're helping in many areas there with this comeback, Betsy. Has there been a lot of requests for her for one-on-one interviews and wanting a piece of a time? That's the toughest thing, I think, when you come back here. You just don't have that much time for everybody.
There really has been not as much in the last couple of days here at the U.S. Open because Monica said, you know, it absolutely is impossible for me to do everything. We look at this point played just now again. Huber's not liked a couple of different calls. That one did look a little bit wide.
Set points now, though. And there it is. The first set has gone to Seles. 6-1, and it took all of 23 minutes. Great to have Monica Seles back in the sport, and this is how she's got to the 4th round and looked like getting through to the quarterfinals. And hasn't lost too many games. 1-1, 3-1 the first round, 2-1, and then against Cameo, we showed you that match the other day, 1-1, and now against Anke Huber, she's won this set. First set of this match 6-1. So it really hasn't been extended, and I've just been talking to Betsy a little bit. I don't think anybody can beat her in this field the way she's playing at the moment. But Betsy feels that if they get to the final with Graf and Seles, it will be a great match.
Thank you.
I'm not going to put Betsy on the line, but
I have a couple days to think about that one.
Love 15.
Talked about Seles's tremendous achievements in her very short career. She won 7 of the last 8 Grand Slam events. In her absence, 10 Grand Slams were played, of which 6 were won by Graf. So you've got to figure that if Monica had been around to play in those 10 Grand Slam events, that she would have won at least half of them.
Well, I think when that rivalry started, when that incident that took Seles out of the sport for 2 years, I think at that stage Seles was getting to have the best of Graf, starting to get on top. And I'm, for one, am going to go for Seles in that match. And I've been a Graf fan for a long time. Anke Huber can't get too many things going for her here, and hope you're enjoying our live coverage here from the US Open. After this match, Andre Agassi on Stadium Court. .1540. It's interesting, Betsy, that you mentioned that Seles watched the tape of the match they played up in Canada and said, hey, I should be in closer inside the baseline. I'm not doing this. I wonder if Anke Huber or her coach had the foresight to say, hey, let's have a look at the tape and see where I can improve my strategy playing against somebody that is obviously a better tennis player. I think there should be more of it done. That's what I'm saying.
I think you can learn so much from watching yourself play.
Game Seles. First game,
that one's long, so Monica Seles gets that early break. 1-love, second set. Flag flying high at the end of week 1. Some of our ladies in the ladies doubles, but the men have done us proud as far as singles are concerned. Mark Philippoussis now. Not quite a household name, but they know about him. It was all over the USA, all over the press this morning. A great match against Pete Sampras. The American flag flying there. And here on Stadium Court, a packed Stadium Court. It's tough to get a ticket here for the US Open. A lot of folks come in from out of town for this weekend. And Monica Seles is the big story. Forget the rivalry between Sampras and Agassi. That's big also, but the fact that Monica Seles has come back to tennis and is playing here at the US Open, first time for a few years, is huge in this business. And she's done it very comfortably. During the break, Betsy and I were just talking about how important it could be for players like young Martina Hingis, who's just come out of the juniors into the big league on the women's tour that they can learn quite a number of things. I think more so with the women than the men in specific areas of their opponent's game by watching tapes, and there should be more of it.
It's so easy to think that you're actually doing one thing while you're playing, and in reality, you're really not, or you're not always aware of where your balls are landing or certain patterns that you're using that aren't working for you, that you need to change.
I think today also there are more rallies, many more rallies in women's tennis than men's tennis. So men's tennis is serve and volley and make a couple of things. So there's only 2 or 3 areas that you can look at there. As far as the women are concerned, they're into more rallies. The rackets have helped them. They can learn more by watching a tape for positioning of the ball, like a rally such as this.
Well, that's a perfect point from Seles there. Plays a good first serve, plays a tremendous angle, takes a step forward, and then just whacks it down the line. Just doesn't give the opponent any time to be able to recover.
30 all. Just missing there. This is a break point opportunity for Anke Huber. The very first game of this match, Huber had a chance to break the Seles serve. Couldn't do it. Yes, the return wasn't quite deep enough, and it allowed Seles, as she does so well, get that angle. And Anke Huber with that 2-fisted backhand, you got to cover another meter or so to get in a comfortable position to make that shot. She couldn't do it. It's deuce.
That's some big hitting from Anke Huber. It sets up a second break point. I remember the first time these two played each other was at the Australian Open, and Anke Huber had gotten to the quarterfinals. It was in '91, and after that match, it was a very close match. It was straight sets, but I think it was like 3-5. And Monica commented on just how hard Anke Huber hit the ball. Saved with a big first serve.
She's mixing that serve up too. The last time she down break point, she went out wide to the 2-fisted backhand. That time with pinpoint accuracy. Hit one down the middle, a 95-mile-an-hour serve, that 1-2.
A third break opportunity here. Seles put Huber's ground strokes right up there with Graf, Capriati. Capriati could sure belt the ball hard. It'd be great to see her back in the game.
So the crowd like that. They want to see a bit more here because both these women hit the ball extremely well off the ground and some fantastic rallies. So Anke Huber gets on the board in set number 2. It's 1-all. Betsy, anybody talking to or having conversations with Capriati and seeing the interest that she has in the sport? Because she was going to come back and lasted like 1 week and then sort of give it away again.
Yeah, she did come back and played one tournament at the end of last year in Philadelphia. And in fact, Anke Huber won that event. Huber beat Capriati in the first round. And Capriati looked pretty good. She looked in good shape, and everyone was anticipating seeing her down at the Australian Open at the beginning of this year. But she just kind of went back into her shell a little bit. And Denise Capriati is here at the US Open. I saw her yesterday and had a nice visit with her. And I think Jennifer is really starting to communicate again with some players and with some tour officials.
That's good.
Love 30.
Well, there's young Anke Huber saying, hey, I've just broken serve. I've got the 1-all. I've got to tighten things up here, and now I'm down love 30. Well, that's a good serve.
15-30.
91 mile an hour right down the tee.
You take a close look at the Huber serve. See if we can pick up on it. She really jerks her head a bit and caves in sometimes on the serve. Not so much the first serve as the second serve. Doesn't get the spin or the pace that she would like on the second serve, and that allows Seles to really pounce on it.
30.
Well, another close one. And Seles was about ready to whip around and see if there was an overrule on that, but it finally was called long. So a break point now for Seles. Another good serve.
A couple of huge serves in this game to get herself out of trouble.
Advantage Huber.
Huber is definitely serving better than she was serving against Seles in Toronto at the Canadian Open just a couple of weeks ago when they met. Seles won that 6-3, 6-2, but Seles was really able to capitalize on far more second serves of Anke Huber's. Huber's getting a little bit higher percentage of first serves in, I believe.
Deuce.
We spoke about the media surrounding Seles and her comeback in Toronto. They had to increase the size of the press room. And I can't believe everything that Monica fit in during that week. She did a lot of one-on-one interviews, and she managed to fit in Niagara Falls, a football game.
Well, it's good, you know, under those circumstances, you've got to keep yourself busy, I think.
Yeah, and I think she just missed it so much that she felt like she had a lot of catching up to do.
Advantage Huber.
Well, an opportunity now here for Anke Huber to go into the lead in this second set. She's had a couple of game points on serve and then rushed. Let's see if she can take a time here. Can't do much about that one.
Deuce.
Well, Monica said, I think I need to attack a little bit more after she viewed the match against Huber a couple of weeks ago, and boy, she's she's doing it.
Advantage Seles.
Game point now, break point for Seles. Jumped back. Well struck return.
The only criticism I think that Monica would give herself or berate herself for is the fact that given opportunities to break, she has missed the return of serves both here and in Canada. And that's something that she won't accept from herself, I'm sure, as the year continues for her and she gets a lot more matches under her belt. Good wrong footing play from Huber there.
Game point. after a very long battle. The 20-year-old from Germany, Anke Huber, whole serve, 2-1. She leads second set.
Huber leads 2-1.
Feeling a little happier with herself here, and Monica Seles there with trying to cool off. It's a very warm day here, and the first set was a lot closer than the score indicated, 6-1. Lots of good rallies, and just have a look at the folks packed into this stadium court right now. Big story, Seles coming back into the sport. Anke Huber leads 2-1. I'm Fred Stolle along with Betsy Nagelson. Hope you're enjoying our live coverage this year from the US Open. We'll be with you right through to the finals next Sunday of the men's event. Super Saturday, where the two men's semi-finals are played, and in between those matches, the women's singles final.
Love.
Andre Agassi up next against Jared Palmer, young American, Davis Cup teammate of his. Palmer plays doubles with Richie Renneberg. Well, she had exactly what she wanted and then just tried to steer it down the line.
Huber played a couple of very successful drop shots the last time they met a couple of weeks ago, and she's waited a good set and a few games before trying it here. It was a strategy that worked well for her.
Love.
That one's long, so an easy service game there for Seles. That's when Huber would have liked to have had a tough game, made her play a tough game to sort of battle a little bit. So an easy service game puts Seles back to 2-all. Now, Huber in the last service game had a long game. He's got to do it all again.
Love.
That's too tough there.
15-all.
There isn't an angle on a tennis court that Seles can't create.
Monica applauding this shot from Huber.
Well, if you do give Huber a ball in the middle of the court that doesn't have too much on it, she certainly can find a winner herself. She's done that fairly consistently throughout her career, young career.
30-all.
Anke Huber will be 21 years old this December. Monica Seles will be 22 years old this December.
Have a look at the service motion here, Betsy, if you can. So I think when she goes back, she comes out too wide there, and then she sort of throws it back in. She's got to move that elbow a long way across as opposed to coming back that way. She goes out to the right and then has to move that elbow. Have a look. Just see what you think about it.
It's not very fluid.
No. She starts there, look, goes out to the right, and then look where she's got to go. See where the elbow goes along the side? It moves about a good 6 inches foot across the back.
Game, Huber.
So Anke Huber has an easy game there. She'd be happy about that. She leads 3-2, second set. Warm day, and actually Monica Seles having a little bit of a chat to the ball kids there that are helping her with the umbrella. That's a new innovation in the last couple of years. The ball kids will flip up those umbrellas when it's warm. And this summer season on the tour, they've actually brought out fans out there, electric fans, and hooked them up because it was really a hot summer in some of the places where the men's events were played. And something that helps keep the players cool for that minute and a half on the changeover.
Love 15.
And Monica Seles won the first set 6-1. They're on serve in the second set. It's 3-2. Huber leads on Fred Stolle along with Betsy Nagelson. Watch out. The net cord set that up for her.
Yeah, and a bit of an opening now here for Anke Huber. She's got a lead in this set for the first time.
Love 30.
And love 30 on Seles' serve, so a small opening here.
And you can hear the buzz going around the stadium because this has not happened as yet in Seles' comeback, that she's been down in a set. If Huber could break serve here and lead 4-2, there would be a big buzz around this packed house. But Seles doesn't want that to happen either. Don't like people talking about it like that. Down a break in a second.
Nobody competes like she does. And that's just an innate gift, instinct that she has.
30 all. That's a great shot, right in the corner again. Seles having a look at the lines, Judge.
And Huber's goal and hope throughout this match was to be able to try to impose her game on Seles. And in this second set, she's had some pretty good success. Well, Seles has really come up with some big serves when she has been in some trouble. That one well placed. So
Juice.
Break point saved.
Seles.
And Huber is not going to go away. She's going to continue to try to be aggressive. She's been moving in. She's got Seles pushed way back behind the baseline. Back to deuce. Seles has already faced one break point in this game. Also had a game point.
Great shot. Wrong footing your opponent. Seles was looking for that one going cross court. Now she's in the rhythm now on the ground strokes.
Huber just kind of held that for that split second, forcing Seles to commit herself. This is a second break opportunity for Huber. And again, Seles is so clever. She doesn't give herself enough credit for being a real thinking player, which she really is. She says that she leaves that to her dad when she comes off the court. Her dad is her coach, and both her mom and dad are here. But Seles mixed up her serves very well when she faced break point in this game. One wide, one down the tee.
Seles.
Called wide. Well, Seles battles the competitor that she is, down a couple of break points. The crowd love it. 3-all.
Some terrific hustling and fighting from Seles. She fought off 2 points there to go down 4-2. No one has had a lead over Seles in her comeback attempt. This is her 8th match. Well, Huber wants a call. I don't think one's coming. Good disguise. Huber does the right thing to follow it in to meet the next shot, but Seles gets there in plenty of time to thread it down the line, and pretty hard to tell, but I think it was good. From our position way up above.
Yeah, it looks as though it might have made it. Tough to tell on those replays, though.
Yeah.
Scores love 15. Doesn't matter what we think.
Chance here for Seles to get the break back. This is Seles's 9th match. She won 5 up in Canada. She lost fewer games than anyone has ever lost in winning a Canadian Open, and she's only lost 9 games in 3 matches here at the US so far at the US Open.
Well, from having a couple of break points to go to a 4-2 lead, things can turn around in a hurry. Now, this young lady is down 3 break points.
And a couple of errors off the return of serve from Seles. And again, that is the area of her game that has been so solid, so good throughout her career. And that's an area that will continue to get better now as she plays more matches.
Well, she picked that move there instinctively. Great rally. The crowd are very appreciative of this one. Those balls were being spanked pretty hard in this rally.
Well, there's been some really great tennis played in this second set in particular. Seles would love to have this one back as she played it right into Huber's hands. Huber anticipated at that point, Huber's got to go one way or the other. She guessed right. So
Juice.
Love 40 back to deuce.
Break point, Seles.
Well, Huber is forcing Seles to work as hard as anyone has been able to make her work yet in her 9 matches, and some frustration there for Seles as she couldn't quite get behind that last ball. These last 3 games have been long ones.
Loved it. Oh, did it make it? Oh, call wide. Unbelievable rallies. Now, hang on. Huber thinks he's made it.
It was like that far in.
If it was that far in, I could see it in. He called it immediately. You couldn't hear him, but his arm
Because
went
she
out.
didn't run.
His arm went out immediately.
This is the shot in question here, the drop shot.
If that's not in, I'm a Dutchman's uncle. I think that's got half the line there. That's great camera work. They got that one right on the spot. Seles has a habit of looking at intimidating the lines judges at that time, and she got away with one there. Bad luck for Huber, because that one was right on the line. Great camera work. So very frustrated, Anke Huber. Bad luck there, but some great tennis in that game. 4 games to 3. Seles now with a break. Well, here's the drop shot in contention after just the best rally of the match, and Seles is caught behind the baseline, and this one is in, folks. And so Seles sort of signaled out. She didn't even run for it. And you can hear Anke Huber still pretty much upset about this, and I've got to agree with her.
Yeah, it's really bad luck for Anke Huber, because she had started to play so much better here in this second set. She had broken Seles in the opening service game, Seles' opening service game.
Thank you.
These last couple of games have been very, very hard fought. That was a huge
It's been a
last
tremendous
game,
battle,
yeah,
this second set. I've really enjoyed the tennis. It's been good stuff.
It's hard for Huber to maintain the depth with the pace. And you know she's going to be able to have maybe 1 opportunity, maybe 2 opportunities, but after that it gets pretty tough to have that many chances against Monica Seles.
Yeah, big difference now, because if Huber wins that last game, she's pretty confident and goes in there, and now she's upset and can let this really get away from her in a hurry. 30 love.
It's very important for Seles to be fit, because when you have 2 hands on both sides, you really got to be able to get into good position. It limits your reach, obviously, having the 2 hands off both sides. And that's why occasionally she is starting to let go of her right hand on her left-handed forehand, so she can have a little bit extra reach. Uses the one-handed forehand more often now.
Well, that's a brilliant shot. Boy, that's tough. 40-15.
Anke Huber has been able to extend Monica Seles over the 1-hour mark. That's something that not too many of her previous 8 opponents have been able to do. I think only 1, and that was Huber in Toronto. Great shot from Anke Huber. That's a shot she used really well in Toronto, and it's tactically, it makes such good sense with the heavy hitters, and Anke Huber is a very heavy hitter. You can see Seles kind of back there. She disguises it well, and that was very well played. Seles was kind of on her backs of her heels, not looking for a drop shot at all.
Well, Lady Luck smiles on Anke Huber in that one. Maybe we get even for the one in the last game. So a drop shot in the net cord gives Huber a break point opportunity yet again. Oh, that's too good. That's the champion that she is under pressure. Have enough guts to go for that one. Huber looking up there and saying, well, I thought I hit a pretty good return. Juice. Game point. It's long. Seles holds after surviving a break point. It's 5-3. Monica Seles won the first set 6-1 in 23 minutes. This has been a terrific second set.
Yeah, this is one of these matches that the match is much closer than the score indicates.
15 love.
Oh, another close one called wide.
It's always more difficult when you're changing the direction of the ball. Your timing has to be so perfectly executed when you're changing directions. It's much tougher.
15 all.
Makes that one. The earlier you can take the ball when you're trying to change directions. Now watch Huber. She diagonal forward. She moves inside to catch the ball early, and that makes changing directions from across court down the line much easier.
30-15.
Seles does that so very, very well. Well, talk about some wicked angles. And Hubert got away with an unbelievable forehand cross court there. Takes it very early, moves inside the baseline. Gives it a very acute swipe up the back of the ball to create the topspin.
I think you broke your wrist playing that one, wouldn't you? So it's now 40-15. That's a good serve. Anke Huber's happy with that one. So she holds serve. When we come back, Seles will serve for the match. Monica Seles is having the toughest match she's had since coming back to play on the tour. Then this young lady, Anke Huber, gave her the best match at the Canadian Open. 6-3, 6-2 it was there. But boy, this second set has had some entertaining stuff. And Monica just showing us that she is still pretty fit. She's jogging out there, ready to get to serve. Anke Huber has had quite a few breakpoint opportunities and has been brilliant in this second set. And the crowd are absolutely all with this one. That's fantastic tennis. New balls. It looks as though Seles has new balls to try and serve out the match. Love. Yesterday, the defending champion here, Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, seeded number 3, was taken out by Mary Jo Fernandez, 1-6, 6-4, 6-4. Fernandez was down a set and a break, came back and won that one. It's a great effort for Mary Jo Fernandez. And now Seles looking to get into the quarterfinals. Brenda Schultz-McCarthy took care of Kamiko Date. Now it's Seles trying to defeat Anke Huber to get through to the quarters. 2 points away from it, 30 love. It was a short second serve, and it was dealt with severely. I think to be successful against somebody like Seles, you've got to be able to put away that second serve when it gets short, and there's not too many of the women out there that have the pace of shot like Huber does.
That's good there from Monica Seles. The pumped fist speaks volumes about her competitive spirit.
Match points now, Seles. And it's long. Seles looks back over to her family. She's through in a very, very entertaining match. Both girls all smile. A couple of close calls on both sides of the fence. And Betsy, you just about got it right on the button. An hour and 11 minutes. And the first set took 23 minutes, but the second set was just fabulous tennis.
Well, after the first set, we were thinking it was just going to be another 45-minute type of match for Monica Seles, but Anke Huber really picked up the level of her game. She started to attack more, in the balls that she hit so very, very hard. We're starting to find spots on the court that were making it very awkward for Seles. And I mean, that's the tightest match that Seles has played. I think she really felt the pace, felt the heat and the pressure from Huber in that second set. I know she respects Anke Huber. Anke Huber has yet to take a set from Monica Seles. This is the 6th time that they have met each other.
And this Monica Seles now going over, as she often does after signing a few autographs. You just get an MS, but the kids love this. They go home and say, well, I got Monica Seles' autograph. And also she started that other habit now. Is that going to be something part of her repertoire, like an Agassi throw the shirt? And there she's going to get 4 tennis balls and hit them up, because after each match this week, she's taken 4 balls and hit it to the 4 corners of the crowd, and I think that's nice.
Well, I think Monica Seles really understands just how valuable she is to the women's game, what she means by coming back. She's a very gracious competitor. She takes the time to sign autographs, whether it's at the tennis center or whether it's at restaurants or walking down the street. She's very, very grateful that people are genuinely appreciative that she is back, and I think she has a very warm spot in her heart for all of the fans that have been so supportive of her in the last 2.5 years. Well,
she certainly showed us something in that second set today. It was an easy one in the first set, but then 6-1, 6-4. She is through to the quarterfinals here and will take on the winner of Novotna, Nedikova, in the quarterfinals. So don't go away, Palmer.